So this tier list is about like characters that will work great with Yanagi and Remielle. Since around the time if I release this video, or when I release the video, we'll get more info from CCs with the creative server that are going to explain like what Remielle does. I have info about how Remielle works well with Yanagi. Like there's many different teams that I've seen and stuff. So we're just going to talk about that and what characters actually work well with both of them and what characters don't. So I'm going to be honest, like I'm mainly going to be talking about like supports, stunners, and like anomaly agents. I'm not going to be talking about attack agents and rupture agents because they do not work. They don't work with these two. But this is for really people who come into the game and they're pulling for Remielle. And if they happen to lose to Yanagi, they can still use Remielle, right? This is for like veterans and it's for also free-to-play players. So if free-to-play players that enter the game don't have these agents, it's perfectly fine. That's why there are other substitutes for them that you can use in like the third anomaly character slot. Alright. So first, I want to talk about some support. Let me talk about the sports first, because this is kind of easy. I want to talk about Yuzuha first, because Yuzuha is going to be on the guaranteed banner, right? And that means players who enter the game, you can use pools to obtain that character 100%. So it's all down to luck about when you get this character. So Yuzu's really great. She's a good substitution. You don't need 3 anomalies for Remielle. From what I've seen and what I've heard, you don't really need 3. You're okay with just both of them together. It's cool to lose to Yanagi now, so you have at least half a team. Yeah, but the thing is with these 3, because Yuzu's increasing Yanagi's build up, you're able to actually just proc anomalies more frequently and faster. But Yuzu is a great option, right? And what I mean by great, I don't mean best in slot, because there is no best in slot in this team. Next, we're going to talk about Rina. So if someone happens to get Rina on their 300 selector or in their 50 selector from the beginning of the game, with Rina's potential lock, she is a huge upskill for Yanagi, especially since Yanagi is going to be in the 50-50 loss pool, and she's really good, like really good. From most of the time, if you're a veteran player, you should have M1 or at least have M1. Rina's really good with Yanagi now. The buff, I can't say too much about it, but the buff is really good if you see other CCs talk about it. I'm gonna put her in a decent category because Yuzu actually does more damage, but to be fair, they're both like the same amount of strength when it comes to like score wise. But if you have more mind skips on Yuzu, she's definitely gonna be better, but she's like a decent to great option. In my opinion, I think she's great, but for like newer players, she's just gonna be decent because she does need her signature. Next, who else? Trigger. So since Trigger is going to be a part of the free selector for new players and everyone just to select, some people might be tempted to get Trigger for Yanagi. Now for Yanagi, I think she's an okay option, but with Remielle, she's not great, even with Sig and even with M1, because she desaturates Yanagi's anomaly, which hurts Remielle's damage. It's just not worth it. Especially if you get my skates with Remielle, it kind of conflicts with Trigger. She is not a good option. Let's talk about Qingyi. Some people might have Qingyi already. Again, I think she's just not as great. She's in the same category as Trigger. She takes too much field time away from Yanagi to give sacks for Remielle. But with Qingyi, I got distracted. But with Qingyi, she suffers from taking too much field time from Yanagi. If she suffers. And I'm only talking about notable stunners now. that's possibility of helping him. Nagwang. Now, depending on the boss, Nagwang, she could be really good with Remielle and Nagi, right? I'll just put them here. So she could be potentially good because she stuns really fast. I'm rating Yanagi at M0 and Remielle M0. Because you stun really fast, you might not have enough like time to get enough anomalies for Remielle in the stun. So depending on a boss, if they take a lot of days, which some bosses do, it could potentially be difficult for you to get Remielle stacks. But I will say she's a decent option. I think Yuzu's just a bit stronger because you can get more anomalies quicker and they deal more damage than Nagwang. Yeah, I get yeah, we could talk about Lycon too. I think Lycon is decent too, just because he has the anomaly tag as well. He's also a standard bender character, so you could lose to him, and he could play pseudo off field, so he doesn't demand that much on field time compared to like Qingyi, right? He doesn't desaturate anomaly either. You can build him to have like pseudo anomaly too, since he doesn't need any crit stats in his gameplay to like hit certain thresholds, and the stun damage multiplier is pretty good. So Lycon's like a decent option, but I will say Rina is still better in that sense. But I would say Lycon's a good alternative to Rina and Nagwang. Oh, right. Astra. I'm gonna be for real. Astra is not the greatest. She's like mediocre at best. Like if we get season 1 bosses, sure. But the issue with the real issue with this team is just that you don't have any double defensive assists, so you can't defensive assist against certain bosses because only Yanagi's on field. Now it's funny to get quick assists to like I guess build more anomaly, but I don't think it's a good team. But I would say she's slightly better than Qingyi and Trigger just because she has buffs. The most scuffed hard locking combination in this game. It is pretty funny because once Remielle's in the air, you can't defensive assist with her, and Astra can't defensive assist either. So I'm just want to make sure. Oh, Zhao, right? Zhao. I will say she's in the mediocre category too. Even though she does have anomaly as her tag, and she buffs attack, she doesn't provide anything that like Remielle or Yanagi wants. So she's just kind of being like a better Astra, right? Actually, she is just a better Astra, but you get defensive assist. All right, let's talk about Suna. So Suna with Remielle and Yanagi, to be honest, I haven't thought of much of it. Like, the reason why you will play Suna in this team is for the stun damage multiplier, but you don't have any attack ages or AOD members, so your stun damage multiplier is gone. But the only caveat I will say to having Suna is if you have M2. But even so, I don't think it's worth removing Suna from like other teams just to put her with Yanagi and Remielle. At least she has days, but I wouldn't say Suna is like a good pick, right? I think she's better than like these two when it comes to like buffing, because she can do some damage, but like none of them procs the Ether Veil to keep up her sex. We could talk about Nicole. Nicole, she is a nice decent free-to-play option. I think she's just going to be I mean, even with the defense shred, I think she's just going to be decent. Like a highly skilled Nicole player can make this team work. And she is free, but that's just because of her defense shred. And she has some decent anomaly build, I'm not gonna lie. So you could make it work. But again, I think she doesn't provide enough for... Actually, I can't say that. I think she's decent enough. Like, she isn't better than Rina or like having Lycon or Nongguang, because Nongguang's actually like she's basically an anomaly character, but as a stunner. Negative uptime with Remielle. That I'm not sure unless we get info on like, does the anomaly damage during defense shred count for Remielle stacks? If it does, then Nicole's great. If it doesn't, then Nicole isn't that synergistic with them. Because what Remielle does, from what the trailer says, or you know what Hoyo told us, she takes the stack of anomaly damage dealt and then she holds it in, and then when you switch into her, she bursts the damage whenever you want to. So I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like that. Like if you do the defense shred while you proc an anomaly like with Yanagi, and then Remielle takes that, I don't think it works like that, but who knows? I could be wrong. What about Cyssia for electric damage bonus? No. Just no. Hey, Bones. No. Cyssia is awful. If you played her even as like an EX bot, she does worse than Trigger. No, it doesn't. I mean, I don't think it affects Remielle anyway. Unless you just have her on field in your team and do absolutely nothing with her. Like, no. Unless, you know, we find some Nicole tech. I'll put her in mediocre for now. But I feel like there's going to be a Nicole tech where you do like her quarter circle, like, cancel to shoot it up in the air. Then you switch to Remielle, right? I feel like that might be possible to have it up even longer. I'm just gonna put her in mediocre for the moment until we get more tech, right? But Sissy's a big no. No. Is Seth better than at least not good at least? Seth, that's also true. Where's the drink himself? I said, where's the drink his Seth? Where's the drink himself, Seth? So, Seth, unfortunately, I think he's just mediocre at best. His buffs are not enough. Unless you have like mindscapes on both Yanagi, his mindscapes, I mean, he is just not enough to output the damage that you want to seek, even as a free-to-play player. Granted, he does get a small boon with Caesar being in the 50/50 loss pool, because now people can get her signature W engine and put it on Seth for more days. But Seth just doesn't provide enough buffs. I don't think he's worse than Astra. Actually, yeah, he might be just worse than Astra because he just doesn't provide enough buffs, so that's not his fault. Who else we have? Oh yeah, we have I mean, I can't even lie. I think Caesar's I think she's better than Seth. Now, hear me out. Because she's being added to the 50/50 loss pool, at least you get defensive assists with Seth. But Astra buffs more. Like, her buffs actually matter a lot more to Yanagi. Like, the AP is nice, but Astra having stronger buffs than Seth, even with the res, the build-up res, I think it's just better to just have the raw attack, even though she doesn't have defensive assist. But on to Caesar, she got added to the 50 loss pool, and I think that is really good because people can get M1 in M2 and more opportunities to get her sig. And I think she starts to become decent at M2. Well, not decent, mediocre at M2. Like at M0, I think she's pretty like not. I don't think she's actually. Maybe there should be a tier for them because like they both have like the same issue. But I will say Caesar is really comfy for M0 Nagi. So I'll put Seth in like not great. I'll put her at the bottom of mediocre. Because Seth actually has synergy. He's just not strong enough. Caesar has that shield, which is really good for M0 Yanagi players. And she has that attack buff, which it increases Yanagi's damage. So for Remielle plus Anomaly, I feel like Caesar has full uptime with her attack because they have no reason to quick swap. That, and also she can she gives her signature gives days to both Yanagi and Remielle, which I can't say now, but Remielle cares about that, about this, the buff that Caesar gets from her sig. Oh, Sakaku. Someone says Sakaku. As much as I would like it to happen, I don't think it's a good team. Like, she actually, you could probably build her with Freedom Blues, but again, I think she's just not great. Like, she's more of a meme option, honestly. Provide anything major. She provides attack, and her M1 and M2 like provide like defense shred. But I think the most impactful thing about Caesar is that like people sleep on it, but Caesar's shield does matter in cases. Like for characters that are on field for like most of the fight, sure you can avoid attacks with Yanagi or just have M1, but it's so comfy to just button mash. It's so comfy for a new player to just sit there and button mash. It doesn't matter. Once you have the shield up with Caesar, you can just button mash and do everything you want. Seth is at least anomaly adjacent. That's true, but Caesar just has better buffs. Like for what Shock is mainly based off attack and AP. Seth gives the AP, but Caesar gives more attack than what Seth gives in AP. It does boost Yanagi's damage, but Shock is what Remielle's looking at. So Caesar will provide more. but also she has the benefit of having like stronger Myscapes because people are going to lose to Caesar and they're going to get M1 or M2. That's the only reason why. Like I want to put Seth in mediocre, but I don't think he's as good as Caesar. Caesar just needs a little bit more. I mean, not Caesar. Seth needs a little bit more. So, but, oh, Lucy. Lucy doesn't get her additional, which doesn't matter. Will she? I mean, I can't even really put Lucy here because we have Nicole. Is she better than Seth though? Nah, I still think like Seth is a bit better. Yeah, her additional ability just makes her Boris crit, which doesn't affect it. Like the only thing is if like her buildup was faster to Seth's, because she has something in her additional ability, not additional ability, in her main kit that increases her anomaly buildup, but it's not worth it, right? I don't know. Like they're both kind of equal. Like if someone, I don't play Lucy, but I know Lucy is good from like low cost clears. I know Lucy has been very good since the beginning of the game. So they're both probably equal. Oh, Ambi. No, she's like right there with Chingy. She takes too much field time. She doesn't provide enough. Even if it is energy from chain attacks, you're hardly going to be using them in stun. let's get to the actual part people have been waiting for, the DPSs that actually matter. Who's the third slot? That's gonna be good for you. So, I want to get some out of the way. Let's talk about Arya, Team Pink. Honestly, I don't think this team is very good, even though they're all pink. It's for the simple fact that Arya takes a lot of field time. She has great anomaly buildup, don't get me wrong. Unless you play her like a burst anomaly, it could work. But Remielle, Yanagi don't do anything that Arya wants. Granted, Arya's additional ability can increase the duration of corruption, which is basically like what Rina does, but for herself, but can also give Yanagi time to proc a disorder. So that's something that she does have over Vivian. Unless someone's like an Arya god, I don't think she's very good. I think she's like in a decent category because she does have good anomaly damage and she has good numbers, in my personal opinion. Next, Permea. I've never played Permea. I tried to play Permea. I don't really understand how she works. I have friends that main Permea. I know she's really good. And for what they told me, between just without Remielle, right? If we remove Remielle, Yanagi and Permea do not really work that well together, just because they want two different things. Sure, Permea can get her resources from disorder, but she's providing nothing to Yanagi. So I even with Remielle, I think Permea will prefer other anomaly options. So I'm gonna put her like in the not great. Like Arya has a couple things that can make her like really good because she has like the build up like in her base kit, and she has the corruption extension to increase disorder damage and her own damage for Remielle. But Permea just doesn't. Yeah, I'll put her next to Sissy. Next, Grace. I've been trying to make Grace Yanagi work before Remielle. This does not help it at all. The issue, and I've said it before, the issue with Yanagi and Grace is that the moment Grace does any electric attribute, it instantly desaturates Yanagi's disorder damage. Even if they have the same AP and the same stats, it will always desaturate it. Even with a potential lock, even with M2, even with M6 Nagi, it just doesn't work. Also, Grace, her it's in her additional. Her shock damage has a cooldown, so even if you repeat a shock, you have to wait after another shock. This doesn't happen with Valina because it gets wiped out because shock can't exist. But with this team, you're gonna face that problem. You're better off just using either one of them separately. So I'm just gonna put her like where Permea and Sissia is. I just don't think she's a good partner. What's the next anomaly? Piper. So with Piper, I think she's okay. Like if you remove like Yanagi, she's really good with Remielle. But for this team, I think she has enough anomaly buildup if you have Alice's Sig to give her that builder that she needs. But without it, I don't think she's that good. She might be decent, but you're kind of tight on time. So I'm gonna put her in like the mediocre category, but as a DPS. I don't think she's better than them as supports, but this is just where Piper is for right now. I think she's a mediocre option for them if you don't have anyone else. Again, I would rather just use Lycon, Rina, or even Yuzu in this team rather than going with Piper, unless you really want to. Next, Jane. Honestly, in 1.0, like Yanagi and Jane did work together, but that's because the game was much slower. That he was able to actually use them. Jane and Yanagi have two different teams, and they would rather be a part of those teams than each other. They're both kind of selfish when playing together because they both want to deal damage. And Jane has way more benefits to running with other anomaly agents and supports to Yanagi, even if you are boosting disorder damage. She's gonna go right next to Piper. This is M0 and with potential. I can't explain the potential, but she's equal with Piper. She's just not that great. Let me see if I'm missing. Nope. Okay. Bernice. I'm just gonna say I think Bernice is great. She's really good with Yanagi and Remielle. She has a 3-second burn ascension like Arya, but on top of her potential lock, she can manage her resources really well. You don't have to bring her on field that much, albeit Remielle does eat her gauge pretty fast, but that's a good thing because that means you can proc more anomalies and do more damage. People can stack her Sig in his shop, meaning that they can get more damage. Some people might already have M1 or M2 Bernice, which is really good. I think Bernice is just really good. Like, for an anomaly agent, like, she's not the strongest option, but if you have a Bernice, you get Yanagi, this team is serviceable. It's really good. Miyabi. As someone who I do not like playing Miyabi and Yanagi together, but I will say the synergy between Miyabi and Yanagi, good. The synergy between Miyabi and Remielle, I mean, to people who've seen clears with Miyabi and Remielle through leaks, you know the substats that she had are pretty insane and like not really realistic. They're very high and very unrealistic for the average player to obtain. Granted, it is a cool team concept, I'm not gonna lie, but I think Miyabi, like personally, other than her the build up in her frost lasting longer than most anomalies other than wind, she doesn't provide enough for Yanagi to be worth it. But I would say she's a decent option as a DPS. She's not great, but she's decent. Now, if you have like an M2 Miyabi or something, of course you're gonna make the team work. But this is M0. Vivian. You know how people slander Hugo? Like, I'm cool with Hugo. I don't really slander Hugo. I love to slander Vivian though. Vivian is not bad. There are people who like playing Yanagi and Vivian together. I'm one of the people who like playing Miyabi and Vivian together. Vivian is like in a case of Bernice, where she does what kind of Yanagi wants to stay off field and to provide anomalies for Remielle. It might feel Vivian is better at certain matchups than Bernice, but I think, me personally, Bernice is more comfortable. Like my bias is saying decent, but in reality, she's gonna be great for people. You're saying M0 Miyabi won't work? No. I'm saying because Miyabi and how you build her, I should elaborate that further. Miyabi, she mostly is built for crit and crit damage, which she doesn't have a lot of AP, which Remielle looks for anomaly triggers and stores that. Your damage is going to be severely less with Remielle because Miyabi isn't built with AP. And if you do build for AP, you're losing crit damage, which Miyabi likes, right? So it's a balance between if you want Remielle to have more damage or Miyabi to have more damage. And that's why I put her in decent. Because Yanagi doesn't have to think about it. I'm only AP. but Miyabi has to think between, do I want to be a crit or like actual anomaly agent? And most players do, I'm telling you, most players do not have a single AP build for Miyabi. So that's why I put her decent. Miyabi's strong, but I'm being realistic here. I don't think people will try it and see Remielle's damage be low, so they won't do that. The best counterpoint is Miyabi stronger than Yanagi, so the team would do more damage. So also Miyabi has AP builds. That's true. Miyabi does have AP builds, but realistically, most people who pulled Miyabi had one build for her, and they're not going to start building AP Miyabi when they could just use Nongguang and Yuzuha in the same team and just not worry about using Yanagi with Remielle, when Yanagi has other options like them and like Rina. That's all I'm trying to say. Where is she? Right here. Okay. Belina. She's gonna just be a great option. For right now, she's in her win shield because we're gonna get win bosses, so she's gonna work well. She also is a really good synergy with Remielle that's like really top tier. Because Belina has days and Remielle can also influence that, they can get faster stuns. The issue is that Yanagi's disorder damage is going to be lower, but for what people have been doing it with M0 with Belina, Yuzu, Yanagi, they've just been running Freedom Blues. You're still running the same build. You're just replacing one character for a character that does damage. So Belina is still a good option. All right, now let's try to close this. So we have Alice. Honestly, a lot of people won't be surprised. I think she's probably one of the better anomaly agents for Yanagi. I'm not gonna say why. It has nothing to do with Mindscapes. It's just Alice's base kit. If you ever seen like Alice gameplay with Remielle, you know what I'm talking about. And because of that interaction, you can turbo what actually no. It's not really hidden. Because Remielle wants anomalies, Alice putting a polarized assault on an enemy counts as an anomaly. So you're getting more stacks faster than like other teams. And because you're implanting an anomaly on an enemy, Yanagi could just use that. So because she has the ability to implant an anomaly, Yanagi doesn't have to rush every other time to get a disorder. But I will say with Alice, because Yanagi's triggering polarity disorders, you're charging her thing faster. It's the same as Miyabi, but Alice can just build full AP without losing anything in her kit. Miyabi has to choose, like I said before. But also the rotations are like really, really clean. You do anomalies in stun, it get all the damage, it still have enough because how fast you can cycle through anomalies with both of them. Like, I think a year ago, I showed Yanagi with Alice and Yuzu, and also with I think Seth too. No, that was Seth with Yuzu. But both of them is really good together. But now they have someone that can dish damage in between the moments they need to refill. Yeah, I think that's it. So again, this is just my opinion. Don't take it for gospel. This is just how I feel and what I've seen. Again, like I think Miyabi could be great if, you know, people figure out a way how to make a solid build that doesn't like cripple her own kit to benefit Remielle, right? Because that's not the goal. We don't need characters to change what they're already doing to fit something else. Again, Suna could come up with like Mindscapes. Caesar, you know, if someone's like a really cracked Caesar, a good gameplay, she can always come up. These characters, I'm not entirely too sure. Maybe if Trigger had more Mindscapes and like her Sig had like more refinements. Sissy is just a no. Like, don't try Sissia. Do not try Sissia.